Okay, so this is problem number 10. Okay, so please pause the video and read the problem. I'll directly go to the solution. So you have a list of dictionaries. Okay, so you are given a list of dictionaries and that is stored in this variable trans. Okay, now you should again return a list of dictionaries. You should convert one list of dictionaries into another list of dictionaries. So what is the input dictionary going to look like? So it's going to, what is the input list going to look like? Every dictionary in trans will look something like this. Okay, so this is one of the dictionaries in the list trans. Okay, so make note that this is a list. It's a list of dictionaries. So each dictionary corresponds to one transaction that happened at this shop. So what we'll do is we'll quickly look at this dictionary and see how to access elements or objects which are inside this. Okay, so this is the dictionary that you saw there on the portal. This looks complex, right? So this looks quite complex. First, let's see how many keys there are. There are two keys. So TID is one key, it's a string. Items is another key. Okay, that is also a string. So what are the values? The value for TID is a string here, Gurnath, whatever, transaction ID. Now the value for the key items is a list. Okay, so this is a list. Now let's see how we can access different elements in this dictionary. So this is tr. I'm going to call this dictionary tr for short for transaction. So tr of tid is what? This one, right? This value. This is clear enough. So tr of key will give you the value corresponding to that. Now let's look at tr of items. So what is that going to look like? That's going to be a list. Okay, so tr of items is going to be a list. So what are the contents of this list? The contents of this list are themselves dictionaries. Okay, so we have a bunch of dictionaries inside tr of items. Okay, so just again pause the video and stare at this if it's not clear immediately. So tr of items is a list of dictionaries again. Okay, now if you want to access the first, so these are four items that this user has purchased, right? So he or she has purchased a notebook, pencil, eraser, and file. So what do you do if you want to access the first item that this user has purchased? So you have to first key into this dictionary tr. So tr of items will give us the list of all items purchased by the user. Now I want the first item or the zeroth item if we think of this as zero indexing. So tr of items is a list of zero that will give us the very first dictionary inside this list items. Okay, or inside the list of items, right? Items is a key, the corresponding value is a list of items. So the first entry in this list is going to be a dictionary. In fact, every entry in this list is going to be a dictionary. Now what do we do if we want the price of this item? We once again now notice that tr of items of 0, that is a dictionary. So you just access the value corresponding to the key price, so that will give us the price. Okay, so now what do you do if you want to iterate through all the products that this user has purchased? So for s- say individual item in tr of items. So once again look at this. So tr of items is what? It's going to be a list of items. Okay, this item is the loop variable. It's going to iterate over this list here. Okay, let's print each item and see what it is. Notice that it's going to be a dictionary. Each of them is going to be a dictionary. Okay, now if you want to find out the total amount that the user has paid, what should we do? We have to multiply the price and the quantity for each product and then add all these together. So let me call the total cost. I'll store it in this variable called cost. Okay, so the cost of one item, okay, or one category, one item category is item, the price of the item into the quantity for a single the quantity, right? So the number of the quantity of or what, how do I put it? So the number of products belonging to this category, or let me put it simply. So quantity 4 here means this user has purchased 4 notebooks, right? Quantity 1 means the user has purchased one pencil. So the quantity number into the price per quantity will give us the total cost. Now we just need to add it to cost. Okay, so the total cost for this transaction turns out to be 305, as you can verify. Okay, so what we have done is we have now found out the cost for one transaction. Now, what you need to do is you need to repeat this for every transaction in the list of transactions that we have. So, for transaction in trans, right? Recall that trans was the list of dictionaries that we had. So, this is the list of transactions. So, for each transaction, you have to do this. Okay. Now, once you do this for each transaction, what do you have to do? You have to, you should not print the cost, but you have to s- create a dictionary corresponding to this transaction. So, what will that dictionary have? That dictionary will have the cost, the total cost. So, that is, this is the key, and the corresponding cost is the value. It also has this TID, right? So, the TID that you can get from this, right? So, you can get it from TR itself. So, TR of TID will be the TID that we want. So, you can just add that here. Okay, this is the dictionary corresponding to this transaction. Now you need to store each dictionary in a list. Okay, so the output recall is also a list of dictionaries. So you need to append this dictionary to that list. Okay, so this is the functions body. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to insert this inside the function, right? So this is what get, the function name is get summary, right? So get summary of trans. Now you just indent the whole thing and finally return the list L. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll just copy this, go back and go to this tab, and let's go inside and see if this works. If it works, what I'll do is I'll delete the doc string. If it works, I'll just redo the whole thing. Okay, on the portal itself. So I use the collab there so as to demonstrate how a dictionary, complex dictionary object will look like. So yeah, this seems to pass all private test cases. So we'll stick to this tab. What I'll do is I'll do the whole thing again. So get summary. Trans is a list of transactions. Each transaction is a dictionary itself in itself, right? So for each transaction in the list of transactions, what should we do? First we'll get the transaction ID that is going to look like this, right? So TID is the key, corresponding value is transaction ID. Now the user has put this particular transaction, TR corresponds to one user. That user has purchased several items which are all stored in a list. Okay, they are all stored in a list. So you have the key items, corresponding to it is the list of items that the user has purchased. So for each item in the list of items the user has purchased, now each item is itself represented as a dictionary. Okay, so the dictionary has three details, right? Three keys: the price per item, the quantity of items purchased, or number of items of that category purchased, and third thing is, okay, what is the third thing? I tend to forget. Let's go back. The name of the item, right? What is the category or what is the name of the item purchased? So this is what we have. Now let's go back. So if you want to find out the cost for a particular category, the cost is going to be equal to item into price. Okay, price per item into quantity, QTY. Okay, so this is the cost for what? For this category, but we need the total cost for the transaction. So let's, every time we enter the outer loop, we have to initialize the cost to 0, and then we have to keep updating the cost, right? Cost plus equal to item price into item quantity. So that will give us the total cost for this transaction for this user. Now we need to store these two details in a dictionary. So the dictionary will have TID as one of the keys and the cost as the other key. Okay, the cost as the other key, and the corresponding value, of course, will be the cost for this transaction. We have to append this to some output list. Maybe let's call this output list L. So you have to append this dictionary to the list L. And once you go through every iteration of the loop and get hold of this dictionary for every transaction, you can finally return L. Okay, so let's run this again, submit this again. Okay, so 5 out of 5 private tests have passed. So that's mostly it. So let's once again go back. I'll just mention one additional point. See, if you are not comfortable creating the dictionary this way and appending it, what you could also do is you could first create a dictionary. Let's call it d equal to dict of. So d of tid will be equal to tid, and d of cost will be equal to the cost, and then you can append this d to L. Okay, you can append d to L. This is also fine. If you are more comfortable doing this is also fine. Okay, so that also passes all private test cases, right? So that's the solution to this problem.